What's up everybody, I'm Derek, this is Rocking eForge, and today I'm going to be forging a pair of barbecue tongs because grilling season is just around the corner. So, let's get rocking. For today's video, I'm going to be starting with 2 feet of 1/4 by 1/2 inch flat stock. And while the forge heats up, I'm actually going to be starting by marking out the piece. So I want to find center, and I'm going to mark that with a marker, and then I'm going to measure 2 inches out from the center in either direction. Now I'm going to mark both of those 2-inch marks away from center using a center punch or a chisel, and that is going to give me a line that I can use to lay on the edge of the anvil in order to forge out the spring once I toss it in the forge and burn off the marker that I used for the center. All right, so what I'm gonna do is lay one of those dots over the near edge of the anvil, and I'm just gonna hammer down on that a couple of times to give myself a shoulder. I'm gonna do the same thing on the far edge of the anvil. Give myself a shoulder on that side, and this is going to establish the spring in the middle. I'm gonna end up flattening this to make the actual like springy bits. And yes, this is mild steel. Trust me, it'll be plenty springy enough. I'm gonna leave 1.5 inches to 2 inches of material at the end. That will become the grabbers. And then I'm gonna taper from the end all the way up to the handle. Give myself a nice taper. I may do a twist, we'll see. All right, so how I'm gonna start this is first thing first, I'm gonna lay this off the far edge of the anvil. I'm gonna measure out 2 inches, turn this on its side, and then I'm going to use full-faced blows. Well, I'm gonna try. In order to isolate that material in 2 locations. Another way you could do this is to use a guillotine tool to establish that as a corner. I'll show that on the opposite side just to show an example. And I'm looking at that already, and I think 2 inches is too long. So I'm gonna actually lay out 1.5 inch mark. I'm gonna pinch this in to about 1/4 inch at the skinniest point, and then I'm gonna blend that all the way up to the handle. And from that spring shoulder, I got this drawn out to right to 1 foot. This is down to right at 1/4 inch square there, the transition from the reins to the jaws without any better corollary. Now the last thing I'm gonna do with this side is I'm just gonna chamfer off the corners, and then I'll quench this, turn it around, and try to get it as close as possible so that I can bend this around and make it symmetrical. All right, and as promised, I'm gonna break out the guillotine tool here, measure out 1.5 inches, make sure everything's lined up. And I've got that reduced down to 1/4 inch already. It gives me a little bit of buffer with the toe of my hammer while I'm working on that, so I have less of a risk of collapsing that corner like I may or may not have the first time. And now, as it is, this side ended up maybe just shy of 1/4 inch longer than the other side. So I've got to see if there's any spot that is a little thinner. Not really. This side, in fact, looks thinner than this side. So I think what happened is I either ended up a little off center, or this paddle is in fact about 1/8 of an inch longer, so I might have gotten a little less drawing out on this side than I did on this side. So I'm just gonna forge this paddle down just a little bit more here at the shoulder, Then I'll go ahead and put in the decorations. And it's really important before you put on any kind of embellishments or decorations on the first side that you forge out, to forge out the other side so that you can try to match them in length as best as possible. Because there's a non-zero chance that whatever decorative element you try to put in here, whether that's chiseling or fillering or whatever it is, it's going to change the length of this ever so slightly, and you could end up with an asymmetry going on, which would make the jaws not line up, or you'd have to do something weird with the spring. Next thing I'm going to do is put in my twists and my touch marks so that I don't forget. Then I'm going to move on to working on the spring. And I've got the guillotine tool back out because I'm going to put 3 fuller marks into each side of the jaws. There we go. And that is going to give the kind of seashell lobes that you get on a classic pair of cooking tongs. And then I'm going to bring this to the near edge of the anvil, lay it on the near edge of the anvil so that the jaw is on the anvil face itself. And then I'm going to use the cross peen to spread this laterally and try to get as much width out of it as possible before taking it to the grinder for final shaping. All right, so this is what I've got this drawn out to. I've got a couple of spots that I can touch up with a file or on the grinder. Notably, I don't know if I said this earlier, but I matched this on the same side as the shoulder of the spring. I put the shoulder here to be on the inside so that when I kind of dish everything around into the grabbers, it blends in better on the outside. Now, I just get to do the same thing symmetrically on the other side and kind of hope that it works out. All right, so now I got my preform all fullered in. Let's get this thing spread out. Now this thing is sitting at right about 1 inch wide at the widest points. Now the other one is sitting at about 1.25 inches. I probably haven't even made it thin as a regular pair of tongs you'd get at the store, but it needs to be, in order to get the width that I want, I need it to be thinner. Now if you're trying to make oak leaves, it just occurred to me that this would probably be a pretty good way to do it. It looks like I've got a little bit more material here in the center that I can focus on. That's something to take away from this process. Never forget to focus on the center of the piece that you're peening, whether that's with the cross peen, ball peen, or the rounding hammer. You can get a lot more spread that way than you would expect. All right, so to work on the spring now, I'm going to lay that shoulder on the over the far edge of the anvil. I'm just going to work on flattening this across to a thickness of about an eighth of an inch, and I'm just going to let that spread naturally to wherever it ends up, and then I'm going to dress the side of it to make everything flat. All right, so now the final shaping of the grabbers is going to be right at the very end. So for the time being, I need to start shaping at least pre-shaping the spring so that I can make the 2 grabber ends meet and grind them at the same time. And as you can see, this fit directly in my forge, all according to plan, completely. Definitely did not wing this entire project. All right, so for once I'm wearing gloves on both of my hands. I'm just gonna, I found a piece of, or a leaf spring, and that's not gonna work. All right, so now I don't have a pipe that is thin enough to go in here to perfectly shape this. So I'm gonna wing this by hand at the anvil using the horn and the flat face. And bending these out to 90 degrees was definitely too much. So I'll have to adjust that as I go. kind of funny that actually worked. Now that I've got this, you know, not perfect, but good enough, I'm gonna go ahead and heat up the spring and bend the two outward so that I can dish the inside of both of the jaws. Too hot. And before this cools down completely, wipe off all the excess, and that's going to be it for this pair of tongs. All right, so these had me in the first half, I'm not going to lie, but I actually really like the way they turned out. I've done a couple pair of tongs similar to this, like spring style cooking tongs, but I've never done the clamshell lobes like this before. And it certainly didn't turn out perfect. They've both got some discontinuities and some sharp corners and stuff that, you know, if you were to get a factory-made pair of tongs, that wouldn't have. They're certainly hefty, right? They're pretty heavy, but I think they turned out pretty great, and they pass the man check. But as you can see, even though they are made out of mild steel with no actual spring properties, the geometry and the thinness actually allow for quite a bit of spring. This will eventually wear out over time, and that's just kind of the nature of making this out of mild. But you can quench these anytime you want to test fit up or adjust something if you need to, or just decide, hey, I'm done for the day. I'm just going to quench this, toss it in the not finished pile, and be done for the day. And that is going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, leave a comment, hit subscribe, ring that notification bell. If you want to support me and the channel further, please consider becoming an honorary striker on my Patreon. That link is in the description below the video, or please consider becoming a member on my YouTube channel. And as always, keep on rocking. And I hope the lighting was good on that, because that was one time through with no traffic. It's incredible.